Karl Satinitigan and Quiwa are co-founders at Meron. Hello Karl, hello Quiel, welcome to Startup Podcast.
Hi, Johnny. Welcome to your listeners.
Welcome everyone.
Yes, I'm actually very excited to learn more about Meron. I think this is very interesting. So Meron is actually you're kumbaga posing it as a B2B SaaS startup for SMEs circular economy needs. For me, this is very interesting but I let you answer this question. So ano nga ba ang Meron?
Sure. So I can start. Meron is, as you know, Filipino for what's available. Anong meron? We want to help mid-market manufacturing companies save money, reduce waste, and become more circular through our first product, which is a fixed asset management and tracking system that allows companies to monitor their physical assets, so their equipment, their machines, their furniture, maybe, so that they know what they have and they avoid over-purchasing. That's
Anong meron? Anong meron? I think that's very nice. How you came up with even yung spelling ng meron, it's very kumbaga yung modern na paggamit. Hindi mayroon, di ba? Meron. I think that's also like like a play somehow on the word Pero you talked about Meron Exchange, and I actually looked at the website, and it's actually very interesting kasi it's true, no, as what you've said. Circular economy, reusable resources, pero basically minsan when you have a company and meron kang office, for example, may mga gamit, furniture, or even some devices na binili mo. So it's like your asset pero hindi nagagamit. So baka kung tama ba hindi ko, pwede itong magamit ng ibang kumpanya. So something like that. So can you speak more to this, how basically Meron Exchange works?
Sure, I can start and then Kel, feel free to add. But so our dream is that companies share more of their assets with one another, pero sisimulan muna namin internally. Kasi in our first few clients, even internally parang hindi pa sila super aligned. And so the hope is, if it's underutilized, for example, in one branch, pwede siyang gamitin in another branch.
Good.
How that works, Kel, you wanna build on that?
Or even within departments din eh. 'Di ba? Parang hindi naman siya kailangan branches. Parang within an organization, dapat pare-pareho tayo nang naiintindihan kung ano yung meron.
Single source of truth.
Single source of truth. Yun yung lagi namin mantra ni Karl.
Single source of truth, kumbaga, ng assets or like nung inventory. But sige, just to get a picture, like let's say there's a company na, let's say my office, baka yung office maraming floors, iba't ibang departments, and let's say may ibang office nga, let's say sa Visayas or sa Mindanao. So paano nangyayari itong single source of truth nito? How do they like see one file, one document, and how is it updated para makita yung assets na available?
So, ngayon kasi 'di ba parang kada branch or kada department, lahat sila meron silang kanya-kanyang spreadsheet, or usually may spreadsheet sila, or if the organization's large enough, meron silang something like an Oracle or an SAP software, so a software that handles that. Pero paano kung hindi ka pa naman ganun kalaki na company, 'di ba? Pero parang medyo overwhelming na yung mga spreadsheets mo. Mabagal na magbukas ng Google Sheet para accessible sa lahat yung kung ano yung meron yung bawat branch, yung bawat department. So sa Meron, mas simple siya. Pwede ka basically kung may spreadsheet ka na existing, lahat kayo pwede niyo i-upload lang sa Meron ng diretsahan. Pwede niyo lagyan ng photos na hindi niyo pwede gawin sa isang spreadsheet. At saka pwede niyo rin siyang pwede nyo ma-access at i-assign sa mga tao yung bawat item or asset na gusto nyong i-log. So mas visual, more visual than a spreadsheet, less complicated than all of those bigger software na meron na yung ibang companies.
Yeah, maybe like kumbaga ownership, no? Tsaka, is that right? Parang responsibility. Sino yung mamamahala dun sa item na yun? Pero here's my first question, I know this problem. This is actually a very big problem in big offices. Even actually, I've experienced a personal problem nung ako ay okay, let's not speak about the company na lang. Pero let's say there's a company I work at, and then usually meron akong gamit. Kunyari meron akong laptop na kumbaga inisyu sa akin. Tapos minsan mawala na yung mga dokumento, hindi na nga alam kung ilan yung mga laptop. Tapos minsan naibalik ko na pero hindi pa nasabi na naibalik na or something like that. So do you also deal with that? Parang yung ito yung parang pre-documentation, pre-aggregation nung source of truth, yung management ng assets. So meron din ba kayong ginagawa for this at Meron?
So the hope is it will eventually be integrated into your HR tech system. Parang so ngayon sobrang sinisimplify talaga po muna namin. Parang since we just started technically last January, parang we're focusing first on the tracker. But the hope is that it can be fed from HR all the way to IT to finance. Kasi very clear, parang that problem is narinig din namin na parang minsan pa nga dahil may turnover ng employee, hindi na alam kung nasan yung item or nawawala na yung item kasi parang dinala pala ng employee, hindi alam ng HR pero alam ng finance or alam ng IT. So the hope is that eventually will be seamless from hiring all the way to your day-to-day work all the way to your moving on. Naman tawag din sa pag-alas mo sa company. Pero ngayon, talagang tracker lang muna siya that can sit independent of these other systems.
Yeah, actually that's true. Actually, hindi lang naman like sa HR department ang maaari makagamit ng information na ito. I think this is actually very new and very unique. When you do this and when you like put an effort to first like collecting the information from all the departments. Second, I think there's a need for like validation kasi baka mali naman pala yung information nila. Pangatlo, yung tracking. I think very important tracking kasi ayun nga baka nalibat na sa ibang department, hindi na lista. So, mali na yung anong meron, di ba? So, yeah, can you speak about how you're doing this, no? Yung first, yung pag-collect ng lahat ng information. Pangalawa, maybe do you do something with validation? And third, ang pinakamahirap dito, ito yung pinasakit ng ulo, yung kumbaga tracking. So, do you also do this at Meron to update, to continuously update like that single source of truth, ano?
So, doon sa unang part, which is collection ng data. Again, if you have existing spreadsheets, pwede naman upload lang tapos matic na siyang nandun. Pwede ka rin mag-add individually ng mga items, i-log mo kung ano yung quantity, kung nasaan sila. I think yun yung importante, ano yung location nung asset. Although ngayon wala pa naman kami sa phase na meron na kaming like physical trackers, no. At the very least malaman man lang kung nasaang branch ba tong mga items na to. Yun yung parang initial na data, di ba? Para or nasaang shelf ba ito kung in a smaller scale. Pangalawa doon sa validation, I think yung pinakapasok doon sa validation category ay yung mga workflow components na nakuha rin namin from the clients that we're talking to. Usually, they need someone to approve asset requests. They need someone to approve asset transfers. Or they need someone na parang basta makita lang hindi basta-basta nasasubmit yung pag-add ng bagong item or hindi basta-bastang nasasubmit yung pag-transfer ng items. Just someone na may oversight on everything, I guess. An administrator, a manager, na pwede niya lang i-click simply. Ngayon kasi parang ang nangyayari, may mga forms pa, tapos dadaan pa physical forms. Dadaan yung physical forms, i-email, or dadaan pa sa desk nung administrator or nung asset manager. Pero with Meron, parang pwede lang niyang i-click approve. Or pwede niyang i-reject, lagyan niya ng comment na, okay, hindi pa pwede i-transfer to kasi may kulang pang documents or requirements. And then going to the last part, yung tracking. Physical tracking, yun yung parang one of our goals or parang sa vision din naman namin yun. Pero right now, hindi pa namin in-explore yung hardware component niya. So, meron kami mga naiisip din gawin like a physical gathering or event, halimbawa to sort of tag or items parang or ilista natin sama-sama para medyo community building din yung pagbuo ng tracking system para alam din ng lahat kung nasaan ba talaga physically, di ba? Pero ano pa lang to, mga in-explore pa lang namin doon sa tracking end.
Dagdagan ko lang. Ay, sorry. Dagdagan ko lang konti. So, yung isang na-notice din kasi namin sa clients, even if let's say may isang department na assigned, minsan nga hindi pa klaro kanino assigned yung fixed asset management, minsan it's finance, minsan it's HR, minsan it's IT. Parang the idea of, can we do this as an organization? Parang para malaman natin yung kung anong meron. Parang it's a good opportunity rin for the advocacy, for the circular economy advocacy na parang, mahalaga to, hindi lang to, marami tayong na natatapon ng mga items or nalulus na pera dahil dito. So parang let's, move or slowly transition to a circular economy. The other thing na dagdag ko lang na parang better than a spreadsheet when you use Meron is you can add notifications also. So when we tag an employee or a person, parang we can also say na, uy, parang 1 year now, hindi pa ito gumagalaw. Parang iba na yung... So yung maganda with the system is, unlike a spreadsheet, parang you can add a maintenance schedule, you can add other schedules on top of it para kung malaman mo na, ay mukhang hindi na gumagalaw tong item na to. Parang meron ka na ring way to track it. Although wala pa yung IoT component, meron ka ng parang check in the system.
Well, actually, this is super, super exciting. I mean, imagine, no, like you mentioned IoT. What if like naka-RFID lahat ng items and then automatically natatrack ng system kung nasaan yung item na yun. Pero before we go that, I mean, you need more tech to do that. Ano? And sometimes naman you don't need like that much of tech to do a solution na maaring, kumbaga, solving a big portion of the problem na. Going back lang dun sa sinabi ni Quiel, yung may forms, kunyari ililipat mo yung isang item, isang asset to another branch, may papel, lilipat mo na naman, may papel na naman. Yun actually yung reason, I think, kung bakit minsan nagkakagulo. Kasi dahil ang daming papeles na kailangan gawin, hindi mo na lang gagawin yung papeles. Ipapasa mo na agad, assuming na kumbaga ma-record mo yung nangyari. Pero at the end, hindi mo actually pala na-record. So, if you solve that like with one click of a button, wala nang papeles with just one click, I think it will be easier. And as long as the person or someone responsible for this asset, kailangan nasa kanya yung kumbaga quote-unquote ownership na pag nalipat ito, siya yung pipindot nung or something, siya yung kumbaga may signature about that movement, right? And this actually, I mean, I'm seeing the value kasi I know that nakakagulo talaga ang mga fixed assets sa ibang company and it's really actually like it can be actually a waste sometimes. Pero before we go to that waste part, I'd like to know lang just to get a clearer picture din. Ano example, like for example, yung mga early adopters ninyo now sa Meron. Parang you don't have to say them if you prefer, pero parang what kind of companies, how big or how what assets do they have, just to see the picture din.
Sure. I mean, right now mid-market sila, so they're bigger than a small company. We have one who is a chemicals company na meron silang chain of skincare clinics. Their biggest problem is over-purchasing of machines. Meron kaming kinakausap din na restaurant chain. And ganun din yung problema, parang yung branches, walang single source of truth. Tapos yung warehouse, natatambak na yung mga items doon kasi tinatapon na lang doon ng mga branches kasi hindi naman nila alam na lumalaki na pala yung pile. Tapos yung isa is a bank actually. Parang nagulat din kami na may use case pala sa bank. Yeah. Yung for them naman parang IT equipment tsaka mga signages. Yung gusto nilang i-track kasi gusto nilang i-track yun. So yun yung mga initial clients namin ngayon. At ang hope namin is ma-perfect yung system with them or at least have a working system with them before we sell to other companies.
Yeah, good thing that you said no na actually diverse yung industries. Actually lahat kahit basta opisina yan, basta may opisina yan at maybe pag may branches nga there's more need to it. Makagamit ng ganitong sistema kasi actually this is one of the underrated problems. Actually minsan nga hindi natin napapansin na may problema tayo with assets kasi sometimes when you're maybe a richer company, bili ka na ng bili. Tapos, if you need this now, bibili ka na naman. Tapos, lilipat ba ng branch? Tapos, bibili ka na naman. Kasi wala sa branch ko, bibili ako. At doon mapasok yung, as you said, Karl kanina, yung utilization. So, paano nagsimula itong kumbaga, how you implemented or how you added this utilization part and how exactly can they benefit from this?
Sure. Feel free to add. Pero una is to your point, meron namang solutions ngayon may spreadsheet or meron kang ERP like SAP. Pero parang walang solution sa gitna na affordable pero kaya yung demand ng isang mid-market
for
company.
SMEs.
Yes, correct. And agree din ako doon. It's actually a very boring problem. Parang minsan people only realize it when nagkakagulo na or parang hindi na aligned yung tax declaration nila end of the year dun sa kung ano yung ginagamit ng kumpanya. So minsan people don't really notice it right away. And so on the utilization part, right now, straightforward pa lang siya na parang asan yung item, kung ginagamit ba siya mismo ng employee, hindi pa siya, labas pa siya dun sa current system namin. Although meron kaming nakausap na company na parang gustong i-track yung mismong utilization of a particular equipment. And so, yung stance lang namin ni Quiel was, let's start with smaller, simpler problems. Kasi, kunwari, we could also go to inventory tracking, which is a whole different thing, and marami ring startups doon.
Pero parang fast flowing
correct. Ang laki-laki na ng problem. Kasi parang kami, dalawa pa lang kami, and bagong-bago. So parang simulan muna tayo dun sa medyo fixed asset lang kasi medyo simple. So for example, marami ding lumapit na what if hospital, kunwari. Parang ayaw muna namin dun sa medyo high-risk companies. Parang ayusin muna namin yung sistema, parang make sure that it works. People are willing to pay for it. Then we can go explore these other utilization cases.
So just to add din, no, parang on the surface, parang underrated or medyo boring nga yung sinosolve na problem or yung type of system na ginagawa. Pero kasi ang daming possibilities na dala nitong asset tracking, and pag nakuha mo na yung initial data kung ano yung merong mga assets, ang daming pwedeng pumasok na other emerging technologies na pwede mo pang integrate in the future, 'di ba? Parang hindi naman kailangan, sabi mo kanina, parang baka part of the bigger problem na kung i-involve pa yung inventory or yung movement ng assets mismo, yung Internet of Things, 'di ba? Pero parang nandun ako sa part na ang daming possibilities. Hindi siya boring for me kasi lahat din pwede mo gawin. Na-overwhelm nga ako thinking about it. Parang grabe na ako, kailangan ko na rin aralin yung AI, kailangan ko na rin aralin yung machine learning para moving forward, ma-integrate din namin dito. Pero, ayun, parang for now, lagi kami ni Karl nagpapalitan ng, wait lang. Balik tayo sa pinakasimpleng problema na kailangan nating isolve.
True.
Lagi akong tinetame ni Karl na, ito lang yung problema natin na kailangan isolve, kaya hindi mo muna kailangan isipin yan. Kasi, binobombard ko lagi si Karl ng mga, tinro mo itong mga ginagawa ng ibang companies, ng mga ibang startups, ang ganda nito, ganyan. Pero, sobrang kaunti lang yung nag-i-invest ng time and effort or ng resources sa ganitong klaseng B2B na mga solutions.
Actually, that's very true. I have a small thing to say about this. Parang kunwari, ito yung problem. Sorry sa mga nakikinig lang ng audio. Kunwari, ito yung problem. Let's say 80-20. And then meron tayong technology 20, yung budget, yung cost niya, 20-80. Minsan kasi, yung 20 lang na budget, 20%, ay maaari mo solve yung 80%. In this case, maybe you don't have to invest in larger tech to solve that big fixed assets problem ng isang kumpanya, right? I mean, if you invest in that 80%, okay, you're cool, you have this tech, you'll be published in most whatever publications. Pero you're improving a small portion na lang din of a company. So for me, I'm actually a big fan of those simple solutions solving the critical problems na hindi nga napapansin usually when you read tech, kasi kakabasa natin yan ng mga tech articles. Anyway, just to put it down again. So let's simplify everything. What exactly is that simple problem and the simple solution you're doing? So maybe baka may nakikinig na SME na maaring maging interested to work with Meron.
Sure. So the main problem is yung single source of truth. Wala kang single source of truth. So si finance department iba yung listahan, si HR department iba yung listahan, si IT department iba yung listahan. At good luck na lang kung may branches ka kasi iba-iba din yung listahan nila. At you reconcile it maybe once a year if at all. At dahil delayed yung pag-reconcile, dun mo na lang nalalaman na may nasayang akong machine or may hindi ako nagamit na furniture. So that's what we want to avoid. And the solution is better than a spreadsheet, but cheaper than an ERP. Na kaya mong a system na kaya mong malaman kung nasaan yung mga bagay-bagay at kung ano yung meron.
That's actually very nicely put. So it's a single source of truth, and then updating, and then actually with yung utilization part, maybe if you can also track if is this being in use, so is this not in use, maybe as easy as that you can track the utilization. But anyway, I think it's very nicely put, so baka may nakikinig na interested to be an early adopter then, to be an adopter of Meron's tech. So contact Karl and Quiel. Punta tayo sa sa ilang backstories kasi I'm actually interested. So bakit ngayon ninyo ito ginawa? I mean, have you experienced this in the first place? Bakit ito yung napili yung problem as startup founders? Can we know about that? And maybe pa-share din ng onting background of the both of you, as co-founders.
Sure. I can start, yeah, if you don't mind. Dito, wala ang caveat lang namin, wala kami sob story, wala kami parang dramatic moment where we realize shit, kailangan to fixed asset management. Parang ang simple story ay nung nag-aaral ako sa Chicago for grad school, may nakilala ko startup na Ripley and ginagawa nila to doon. And na tinitingnan ko kung may gumagawa na nito in Southeast Asia and in the Philippines, pero kung meron man very specific to a specific vertical or parang masyado mahal or very very hard to parang bring them to the Philippines kasi nasa Singapore sila or others. So yun doon nagsimula, and then nung nakahanap ako ng investor from Singapore, yung unang exercise nila sa akin was to confirm if ito na ba yun. And so pinaaral nila sa akin yung agri, yung health tech, yung edtech, if mas interesado ako doon. And then lagi akong bumabalik sa circular economy at dun sa idea ng Meron. Tapos eventually I needed to look for a tech co-founder at dun ko nakilala si Quiel. Go Quiel.
Okay, let's go with your story.
Sa akin, na-inspire lang din ako sa circular economy advocacy ni Karl nung simula. I re-met him kasi na-meet ko naman na siya before, pero nagkita lang ulit kami sa isang advocacy-based workshop. Tapos, so we both work in the development sector. I think isa rin yun sa mga niche, I guess, namin as startup founders in the tech space, na parang we're very deeply rooted in development work, in organizing work, in community building work. And then after nun, sabi ni Karl, ito yung, parang ito, circular economy. In-involve niya ako sa mga workshop on circular economy. O gusto mo ba sumama dito, ganyan. Tapos parang di ko alam, parang slowly na pala akong na-drag into it. Pero parang from there, naintindihan ko rin yung yung importance niya in society. And ako kasi parang going back to my background in college as an electronics engineering graduate, and after ko magpa-license ng ECE, bigla akong nag-shift to the development sector. Mahaba pang iba pang backstory yon, pero nung ginawa namin tong Meron, parang it was a chance for me to weave together the two things, diba? Na parang yung tech side and yung development side, yung advocacies ko and yung totoong inaral ko talaga nung college, parang nagmi-mix siya. Although hindi sobrang directly, parang dito ko siya parang nabigyan ako ng chance din na ma-practice dito both. So yeah, thank you, Karl. Wow, retreat pala to.
Elaborate ko lang quickly yung development work na tinutukoy namin pareho. So both of us, Miguel, we were in NGOs and in government before we started Meron. So parang medyo iba din yung pinanggalingan namin. So parang mas not so much on the tech or on the business side actually. So we're also learning how to run a startup. Kasi yung background namin puro parang community organizing, workshops, training, advocacy, ganyan. So, yun. Kaya medyo hilo-hilo, but masaya naman.
Yeah, but it's actually fun. I mean, it's actually super nice. Like, it is a combination. Actually, what you're doing at Meron is parang nagko-combine nga yung tech, yung advocacy of a circular economy. And actually, on the business side, this is actually like helping SMEs utilize or like improve the utilization of their assets. And in the end, kumaga lessen cost, di ba? And increase maybe their profit. So, I think it's a win-win-win sa tatlong aspects na yun, no? Tech, business, tsaka circular economy advocacy aspect. But before I want to talk more about circular economy, pero before we go to that, tuloy natin yung journey. So, sumali kayo sa Arise Plus Boost Accelerator Program, second cohort ni IdeaSpace and Kubo, DTI, and the International Trade Center. So, how did you get into this program, and what did you learn, or how did Meron kumbaga benefit from it?
I'm sure. Nakita ko siya sa Facebook actually. Nag-post sila, tapos around that time parang interesado lang din kami dun sa idea. Kasi yung pinaka-agenda ni Arise plus CA is parang encourage local startups to penetrate other markets, whether other markets in the Philippines or other markets abroad. So parang naisip lang namin na, baka marami kaming matutunan dito. Kasi nga yung background namin is more on development and government work. And so nag-apply kami, nag-interview once, and mukhang okay naman, nagulat din kami, natanggap kami. Kasi nga sobrang bago namin. Pero nakapasok kami, tapos exciting naman. Sobrang ang pinaka-useful nung clarifying which markets to go through, which markets to prioritize, at yung interaction din ng mga other startups. Ikaw, Quiel, ano yung exciting?
Sa akin, yung access sa mga mentors, lalo na sa mga tech mentors, parang sobrang laking bagay para sa Meron noon. And in general, yung mga programs na may mentorship aspect, napakaganda. Parang usually kasi 'di ba yung mga programs may may mga attendan ka na parang seminars, workshops, ganyan.
Generic.
Medyo yung mga iba generic lang. Pero parang kapag ganito na yung program na sasamahan mo, may mentorship, may chance na magbatuhan kayo ng ideas with mentors who have so much experience in this field, no? Parang sobrang helpful nun for us.
And curious as well, no? So dugtong na natin si circular economy. So when you applied here, did you introduce that circular economy aspect or focus on the utilization aspect, helping SMEs improve their utilization and lessen cost? I mean, I'm just curious on how you kumbaga post Meron during this time.
Nung time na yun, parang na-mention namin yung circular economy, pero mas highlight dun yung utilization. Napansin lang din namin na parang hindi kasi siya limited to the Philippines lang, yung problem of asset utilization. So yun yung finant namin. Pero we also did this mention na other countries, especially sa Europe, medyo malakas yung advocacy ng circular economy doon. So tinuhog na rin namin doon.
Yeah, true. Actually, maybe parang in a business perspective, focus on the asset utilization, but on the advocacy perspective, focus on the circular economy perspective. So it's actually a win-win, no, if you have this kind of startup. Yeah, so puntahan natin si circular economy. Actually, pa-define muna really what circular economy is and ano lahat ng aspects kung paano pumapasok si Meron dito in this larger overarching team, kumbaga.
So si circular economy, yung pinaka-konsepto niya is dahil circular, ikot-ikot lang yung joke namin sa isang workshop namin na parang lahat nung ginagawa natin, umiikot lang siya. Hindi siya napupunta sa landfill, hindi siya naiiwan lang, nakakalat lang basta-basta kasi nga umiikot. Kumbaga patuloy lang siyang ginagamit ng iba't ibang tao kahit man mag-iba or ma-upcycle or ma-recycle or ma-repair, basta tuloy-tuloy at ikot-ikot lang siya. So yun yung pinaka-point ng circular. Wala kang natatapon sa basurahan kasi lahat nagagamit mo. And the whole point is parang eventually lahat ng mga ginagamit natin, yung pagpapahalaga nila tuloy-tuloy, you value them more and more. At doon naman yung papasok yung pagka-atinista namin ni Quiel kasi meron yung parang yung loob ng Meron. Sorry, mag-philosophy na to. And ibang kwento pa yun, pero kaya rin siya may deeper meaning yung Meron, na hindi lang anong Meron, pero kung yung pagpapahalaga nung bagay ay andun din.
That's nice, actually. Do you have anything to add, Quiel?
Hindi. Perfectly captured yung answer sa question.
Yeah, and actually, parang according to that definition, medyo bago rin sa akin ang circular economy. I don't know much about this. Pero actually, very connected siya somehow sa utilization. Kasi we will ensure a perfectly circular economy kung na-utilize na maayos yung assets. And this is a larger question. Maybe baka philosophical na onte. Maybe Karl and Quiel you can help me understand more of this. Is this related sa sustainability, kasi ngayon in this world parang ano tayo actually we're consumerist, no, bili ng bili, tapos tapon ng tapon, tapos we can actually move to a sustainable economy, sustainable society kung less waste at kumbaga nagagamit, meron tayong resources pa na magagamit in the future. So how is this connected? How is these two things connected? Do you have some insights on this?
Sure, super connected siya. In fact, si circular economy kasama siya sa Sustainable Development Goal number 12. Ang dami lang kasing goals, 'di ba? 17 sila. So, minsan pagdating mo sa number 10, di mo na naalala. Like ako, hindi ko siya memorize. Pero 12 siya, nasa 12 siya, responsible consumption and production. So parang andun siya, it's a real indicator. Lahat ng countries in the world, most countries in the world promised na maging circular economy at some point. So it's really more sustainable. Yung hope namin sa Meron, and can add on this, eventually, dahil alam na natin kung anong meron, we don't waste it kasi if hindi na natin kailangan sa company natin, pwede nating ibenta or i-share or iparent dun sa ibang companies. Yun yung ginagawa ng Ripley sa US. Wala pa kami doon kasi parang we're starting with a simple problem first of tracking. But eventually, the hope is kung meron akong, alam mo yung problema sa, ako, I live in a condo, tapos kailangan ko ng whatever, screwdriver. Ayoko naman bumili ng screwdriver once ko lang gagamitin. What if I can borrow na lang, di ba? So, the hope is, as a society, ganun din tayo para we buy less, we consume less, and we share more.
Actually, to Karl's point on the selling, sharing, everything, parang when we started, we wanted to do all of that already. As in lahat yun medyo naka-plot out na in our meetings na ito yung mga kailangan to generate a circular economy, kumbaga tawag dito, to generate the circular economy in a community. Pero parang hindi siya ganun kadaling buuin at once. Again, you need to have an entire community of people using Meron or kahit nga hindi Meron, di ba? Parang an entire community of people who are willing to share their resources, are willing to share what they have. So, yun nga, papasok din talaga yung community building aspect moving forward ng Meron na parang, yes, it's a platform, pero ang daming possibilities dyan. And to add din on what circular economy is, parang kung paano ako naging interested sa circular economy dahil kay Karl, parang tinatry ko din siya sa iba, and sila parang first time din nila marinig sa akin yung circular economy na term. Again, di ba parang number 17 ba siya sa SDGs?
Number 12.
12. Tapos may mga pa siya, may mga 12.1, 12.2, di ba? May mga ganun pa. So, ang dami talaga. And pwede nga rin entry point yung term na sustainability. Mas naiintindihan so far ng mga tao yung sustainability or yung responsible consumption, yung production or reducing waste. Yun yung parang mas for now, no, mas layman's term ng circular economy. Pero parang the hope din for the advocacy moving forward is parang maintindihan natin lahat. Ano ba yung circular economy? Why is it important to be circular as a community? Ano ba yung mga communities na parang important na maging circular or i-prioritize sa pagiging circular? Ganun.
Yeah. Actually, nag-work siya kasi right now I'm now super interested about circular economy. So I'll study more about this. So baka sa mga nakikinig din. So increase lang natin ang kumbaga awareness, tsaka hopefully in the future like engagement pa towards doing things towards a circular economy. But one word actually hit me, actually two words. Responsible consumption. Kasi it's true nga na baka we have tech, we have like this stuff, pero it starts from the person and it starts from like a company culture din na let's be more responsible in what we buy. Let's make sure na hindi siya nasayang, not just for ourselves, but also for the entire society nga in the future. Kasi the more we produce, the more we consume, actually baka naubos ng resources yung future generations or yung other parts of the world. So let's be more responsible on I mean, maybe SMEs can be more responsible in how we kumbaga procure assets. And I really like yung larger plan ninyo. So maybe you can share more of this before we end this conversation. Right now, you're doing this maybe for one organization na may departments, na may branches. Pero ang ganda nga isipin nung like maybe let's start with Metro Manila or maybe in BGC lang or in Makati lang. No? They can easily, kumbaga, ililipat yung screwdriver or ililipat yung furniture or ililipat yung some maybe projector, something, some of those. So how do you see this? How do you see yung parang lipatan or exchange nga ng mga assets from one company to another para ma-increase yung utilization, maibaba yung quote-unquote waste?
Sure. So yung isang yung plano namin is so step by step, parang gradually yung paglaki ng scale. So una with the company. So right now we're testing it na parang may mga clients kami na multiple branches. So how do they facilitate it? So medyo madali lang yun kasi internally may sarili silang, let's say, trucks to move the items around. So wala pang security issues masyado. You don't need insurance kasi it's within a company. Yung next parang level of scale na gusto naming tingnan is either university kasi yung isang first use case ng Ripley sa Chicago was parang mga university. Internally in a university, maraming buildings. Tapos you can already simulate na parang let's say research lab equipment or IT equipment. Parang how do you share that? Para rin ma-test namin kung ano yung mga kailangan bago you can move things around and parang ma-simulate na rin na diba, in a school, parang kanya-kanya rin yan. May sariling turf and may sariling bureaucracy per school. So, ma-simulate natin. And the hope is maybe next level is a local government unit. So, may mga friends naman kami who are passionate about the circular economy in some city governments. Can we test it lang within City Hall or with different barangays? And kumbaga, ganun lang muna, parang palaki lang ng palaki and see what needs to be done. And kami ni Quiel, parang aware din kami na baka naman hindi tracker lang to over time, di ba? Parang the circular economy will need different tools over time. And so eventually the hope is mapapasok na rin yung sustainable procurement. Yun yung parang pinakamalaki na parang when you buy a new item or when you need a new item, your automatic response is not to buy right away, but you check muna maybe Meron or another platform. Saan ba ako pwedeng humiram muna or mag-rent muna? And then it becomes a little more sustainable for everybody.
Yeah, actually very good yung ang gandang idea nung sa university. I think that's very plausible. Like maybe sa Ateneo or sa University of the Philippines or sa UST or sa Mapua or Lasal, 'di ba? Parang they can actually sometimes kasi yung mga departments or yung mga buildings they work as separately. So if they actually cooperate para circular economy muna within a campus. And that's also nice to hear na parang what if in the future instead nga na bumili ng bagong projector, ng bagong let's say TV for example, kung kailangan ng isang department, i-check muna si Meron kasi baka yung kapitbahay lang na let's say na barangay or kapitbahay na department ay meron. So pwedeng yun ang ating kuhanin. Baka mas mura din, 'di ba? Kasi we can just rent and kumbaga it's a circular economy. Hindi nasasayang yung mga assets. Yeah. Do you have something to add, Quiel, before we end this conversation?
So far, hindi naman kailangang isang buong malaking circle talaga yung gawin for a circular economy. Pwede siyang mga individual circles muna. Diba? Maliliit muna na circles kung yun pa lang naman yung kaya natin. And since hindi pa ganun kalaki yung awareness on the advocacy. But slowly, we can build circular Venn diagrams. Wow! Pag nag-overlap na yung mga circles ng bawat circular economy. Sorry, kung doon sa mga nanonood, diba? Parang mga Venn diagram yung mabubuo natin. And doon papasok yung mga resources na pwedeng pumasok sa isa't isa. Di ko alam kung naisip ko lang ba ngayon yun. Pero parang I think may nakita na rin akong similar diagram before na when one model of circular economy interacts with another, parang nagkakaroon ng entry points and exit points into each other. Di ba? Parang hindi lang siya isang circle talaga. So, yun lang. Nakaka-excite yung possibilities for it.
Yeah. It's actually super exciting, no? Little circular economies interacting with each other becomes a larger, maybe in the future, like worldwide circular economy. Maybe that's the super goal. Yeah, so
maraming Olympics na 5 circle. Yun yung unang goal namin.
Maraming salamat, Karl and Quiel. I really enjoyed this conversation. And I actually learned about circular economy. Before we end lang, if our listeners want to know more about Meron or about circular economy or about the both of you, so how can they find more information? Maybe you can lead them to the website or social media channels if you have.
Sure. Thank you also, Johnny, for this opportunity. Sa lahat po ng nakikinig or nanonood, nasa www.meronexchange.com po kami. meronexchange.com. Nasa Facebook na rin po kami. May Facebook page at LinkedIn page na rin kami. And our email addresses are our first name at meronexchange.com. So, Karl, Karl at meronexchange.com. Tsaka Quiel, Quiel at meronexchange.com.
Yeah, so maraming salamat. I really enjoyed actually this episode. So salamat.
Thank you so much, Johnny, for having us.
Thank you very much to our 32 patrons. This episode is super powered by TechShake, Asia's most active Philippine-based startup ecosystem builder creating bridges with investors, corporations, and governments. 1 CFO, tech-enabled CFO, bookkeeping, and tax services for startups and SMEs. Take 5 Outdoors, the best guided outdoor adventure tour in the Philippines. They specialize in hiking and mountaineering trips. Benjoy's Food Products, the home of premium bacon ends, tapa, and tocino. D-Buzz, Web3 microblogging app promoting freedom of speech and content ownership. Pinoy IP Works, capture your startup's value proposition through patent and trademark protection. Packetworks, the leading enabler and only Internet of Things social enterprise in the Philippines. Looking for buy and sell online with Sigurado sellers. And NutriCoach, the all-in-one productivity tool for dietitians and nutritionists. This episode is powered by Pareto Consulting, AltSwitch, ePlayment, Tuala, and Hive Energy PH. AskLex PH Academy is our official e-learning partner. Get certifications on Lean Six Sigma, project management, data science, and many more. Support the podcast through the links in the description.